I need to sort of pivot this into a different direction because artists are getting paid in it, as you know, Rick. Garen, I don't know if you know this. Artists get paid literally fuck all. So there was an article put out by the BBC the other day.
What kind of level are we talking about when you say artist?
So I'll explain it now. I'm going to do like a little segment here, like how I do with that with our podcast. But essentially, Rick, I don't know if you saw this, but what happened was Spotify and Apple were put under scrutiny by MPs, and they said you're not paying artists enough. So the stats exactly are, I've got them here. Artists receive only 16% of all royalties generated from streaming. 16. Yeah. And MP said
is that 16% of a big number?
Well, 16% of all royalties. So that's just royalties. That's not even revenue. It's not full revenue, is it? It's just
so we don't see revenue. So we don't see artists don't see any revenue generated from those platforms, which are powered by users. Artists, we see.
Yeah, the full breakdown gets even deeper into that because record labels and publishers tend to keep the majority of those 100% mentioned. Yep. MPs have basically said thanks for saving the music industry from piracy, but now you fucked it even more because looking at the numbers of how much you get paid per stream, it's fucking extortionate. Spotify pays out between 0.002 pence to 0.0038 pence a stream. That's how much they pay for one stream.
So I listen to a song on Spotify.
Yeah.
Right. Rick Ross song, let's say. That's how much he makes.
Per stream.
That's what you say.
Per stream. Yeah.
So it does get a little bit more complex because some of those artists will have different deals because they're making the labels a little bit more money.
The top 1% make like millions.
Yeah.
So really, like our podcast, it's on Spotify. How come we don't get paid 0.002%?
Because we're not music artists and we're not going through a record label. So the record label will get they'll get that level of stats to you. Yeah, offline. It's not the same thing. So if we did, I'm sure we would have 10p in our bank account. So that'd be
yes, reinvest that. Rick,
so Apple Music. Apple Music pay 0.0059p a stream, which is great. That's a little bit more. Yeah. But it's sort of the only way around this is to sort of get artists paid is to get them to work with independent labels or a distribution company. But with that comes much level marketing power and much less leverage. So it's like a catch-22. How do you want to do it? Now, streaming companies were then asked to comment on it, and they said they're open to changing it to a 50-50 split of royalties. But then they pointed the finger at other people saying, well, 70% of their revenue or income goes to record labels, artists and publishers. So someone seems to be lying, and I don't fully trust it.
Well, it's definitely not. It's definitely not artists. Artists are not making money from streaming. No one that I know.
That's why artists are lenient on tours, right?
100%, because that's the only way to make money is to go out on the road and sell your merchandise and get that ticket money. 100%, because we're not making any money from streaming. So
and sometimes venues want to take a percentage of your merchandise money.
Streaming
is vanity.
It's branding, isn't it?
It's branding. It's awareness.
So I hear your music, so I want to go and see you live.
Yeah.
So it has its role, but it's not for income generation.
Not at all. And it's definitely a vanity game. It's definitely a vanity game because a lot of those playlists are gatekept. Like the idea that anyone can make a song, it get discovered on Spotify, and then it just blows up because some editor in Spotify has found this song and now it's on every playlist. The chances of that is like winning the lottery. It's like every week playing the lottery, thinking you're going to win. It does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen organically where a song is just found, discovered, and people gravitate to it and it blows up. But every song that we like, every song that's popular is orchestrated that way because these labels are making an investment in artists. They're making an investment in marketing. They're making an investment in branding. They're making an investment across the board, making investment in making the music. So getting the best producers in the room, best songwriters in the room to create things for a particular artist. So a lot of it is orchestrated. So this song has to do well because we've put X amount into it. So it needs
we
to
need some money back off it.
Absolutely, and again, not to talk disparagingly about the industry, because it still has its pros. It is just one big game. It is just one big game, really.
I genuinely think I really struggled to sit and think, how was it when CDs were made? Because with that, you could see where the money was split, and people were like, okay, I can see where the money's going. So thinking back to like the 90s and 2000s, Sales. It was just like, yeah, I went gold, I went platinum. And you could do that with like with like album sales. So that's a real figure. But now it's like, I went gold on streams, but I'm getting like X percentage less than how I would have got if I was going gold on a CD. Set amount of sales. So that's like, not, for instance, that's not comparable.
If you look at, let's just say, a song, I've got, I don't know, 150,000 streams on one of my songs. If that was CDs, I'd be having a very different conversation. In terms of
talking to me, mate. Let's be real, man. You're talking to me.
No, Indy would DM you. You'd see
right, exactly.
I'd shoot my shot, and I'll be like, Rick, are we allowed to say the M word? Tell me the hypothesis, and then you'll jump on and tell me, right?
So it's a very different game. It's a very different game. Streaming is really just for vanity metrics. Obviously, it does get you through the door in certain things. It's good to have, because if you can say, actually, I can stream this well, then it's some indication of your popularity and how well that song can do in other places. But it's just one big game. It is kind of one big game, especially for independent artists. If it's really about connecting with your core fan base, and it's not even about numbers, really. Connecting with your core fan base and growing that. Like if you've got 500 people that really dig what you do, then you're in a really good position as an independent artist, because that possibly means 500 people that would pay £10 to come see you deliver a live show.
That's decent. Yeah.
Start to make a difference. 500 people that would spend £10 to buy a single from your album or a T-shirt. All of those things. When you look at that, you don't need a million streams. You just need 500 people, and when you and that is how some of these artists have sort of broke the system, where they've just decided, I'm going to concentrate on my core and I'll grow that, and then you can't ignore it anymore. When 500 people start evangelizing, and that 500 turns into 1,000, that 1,000 turns into 10,000.
Organic, and then it grows. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, you've had no label, you've had no marketing strategy. You've just grown.
Who's the best example of this, Rick?
Oh, who's done this very well? Chance the Rapper did this very well.
Okay.
And when SoundCloud was kind of like the growth hack.
Why did SoundCloud die? I never understood that. It was big, and now no one goes on it.
I think no idea.
It must have been like an algorithm change.
I think it's brilliant.
It's good for mixes, but artists used to get discovered on there really easily, but now they can't, and I don't know why.
Do you know why?
I really need to look into it myself, but...
So, it was around licensing as well, so a lot of artists were doing...
covers.
Or things like... Or going over songs that they didn't have licenses to do. So the label started cracking down on that, obviously, because there was money to be made in licensing fees. And so that breed of artist that was forming on SoundCloud no longer had an avenue. So I think that's one of the reasons.
Okay, that makes sense. So Chance the Rapper, he's probably the best example. That makes sense, because he's got a cult following. He wasn't really known at all.